and live. And you're muted.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and call the Board of Directors regular meeting to order, Clean Energy Alliance. It's January 27th, 2022 at 2 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Member Drucker.
Here.
Member Insco.
Here.
Member Bapatel.
Here.
Member Musgrove.
Here.
Chair Becker.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if you could place the flag on our screen, I will go ahead and have Board Member Bat Patel lead us in the salute.
All right, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, are there any board comments or announcements? And we have no presentations today. Do we have any public comment?
We have no requests to speak.
All right, so we are on to approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes?
I would move approval of the October 28th special, October 28th regular, and November 18th special meeting minutes.
Very good.
I'll second.
Thank you. Please call for the vote.
Member Musgrove.
Aye.
Member Insco.
Aye.
Member Drucker.
Yes.
Member Bapatel.
Aye.
Chair Becker.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, so item 1, we were sad to see Board Member Bat Patel is now going to be our alternate. So we have got to pick a new vice chair. And I would like to nominate Board Member Drucker. He's been with us for a little over a year now. So I think he would be the appropriate candidate. If I have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, can we call for the vote? Oh, I guess I should ask Board Member Drucker if you
Yeah,
would like.
I'd be happy to serve.
Okay, good. All right, call for the vote.
Member Insco.
Yes.
Member Drucker.
Yes.
Member Bapatel.
Aye.
Member Musgrove.
Aye.
Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, consent calendar. We have 4 items on the consent calendar. Would any board member wish to pull any of those items? I do have maybe a little special request since we have Attorney Tosdahl here today. Is there any way you could just kind of update us? It's such a hot topic right now, the NEM 3.0 proceeding. Is there any new additions to what you have put in your report? And maybe you could just, I don't want to pull the item. Is this appropriate for him to just go ahead and give us a quick report on that?
Absolutely, Chair Becker, thank you. I'd be happy to give a brief report on the NEM item. As you know, the Public Utilities Commission has been considering some drastic changes to the net energy metering tariffs that are currently administered by the investor-owned utilities, including SDG&E. We had a vote scheduled for today, January 27th, for the commission to take action. But that vote's been delayed. We don't know when it's going to be rescheduled. And there was some press coverage indicating that the governor is involved in advocating for some changes to the proposed decision. Other than that, we don't know much more about what the governor's office is doing. I also wanted to report that we have submitted a letter on behalf of CEA to the commission president, Alice Reynolds, and the 4 other public utilities commissioners, expressing our position with the proposed decision. That letter is in the board packet, and I'm happy to discuss that further if you like. We don't know when the final decision is going to be rescheduled at this point. I would be surprised if it was rescheduled for sometime in February, given all the controversy around the subject. So I think we're most likely looking at a final vote in March or April.
Okay, I do think that was helpful, all of the letters and all of the phone calls and all the activity that I think pushed this decision, hopefully in a good way. So that sounds like good news. So, all right, anything else that's burning that you can think of? Otherwise, I will go ahead and call for a motion to move the consent calendar. I'll go ahead and move that. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Perfect. All right, let's call for the vote.
Member Insco,
Yes.
Member Bob Patel,
Aye.
Member Musgrove,
Aye.
Vice Chair Druker,
Yes,
Chair Becker.
Yes,
Motion carries.
you were quick on the draw with the vice chair. Very good. See, we only hire the best, right? All right, thank you very much. We're on to new business, item number 6. And this was put on the calendar, I think, by Vice Chair Druker, considering providing direction to amend Clean Energy Alliance Joint Powers Agreement regarding the chair and the vice chair term limits. Madam CEO, do you want to offer any words before we?
Thank you, Chair Becker. I don't have a presentation. I will state that our JPA agreement does state that the board will elect a chair and vice chair and to serve annually, and that there are no term limits for that chair and vice chair at this time. Should the board decide that they would like to make a change to that, there is a specific process related to changing the JPA that our general counsel can advise, but there are specific steps that we would take to amend our JPA agreement.
Very good. All right, so it sounds like our JPA is very flexible at this point. Yeah, okay. All right, Vice Chair Druker, did you have any comments on this?
I think to be in line with some of the other JPAs, other boards in the county, that it would make sense that the chair not serve any longer than 2 terms, and the vice chair not serve any longer than 2 terms, just so that we can rotate that amongst the various members.
I do like the idea of rotating and that type of thing, but I'm kind of the opinion that I like how our JPA document is flexible, and I feel like I'm just not sure that it's worth revising when we're going to be choosing and adding new members each year and each vote each year. I'm just not. I get that 2 years does sound like a good number, but I'm just not sure why we would need to revise our JPA documents to state that. Although, actually thinking of that, I wonder if we do need to revise that, because I think that we need to pick the chair and the vice chair at our January meeting as opposed to our December meeting, so that we don't have another situation like we just had. The city's picking their board member to be assigned to our JPA. So I guess we will be revising. Would we have to revise our JPA to add that statement? No. Anyway.
Council Thorson, the JPA doesn't state when, it just states that they'll be set annually for a calendar year. Could it be the first item on the first meeting in January without amending the JPA?
Yeah, if it's annually, then we could do that at the time of our choosing. I know that we did make changes as far as fiscal versus annual, so we might at some point do a read through of the JPA just to make sure, there's no other places where we're referring to fiscal versus annual, and clean that up. And we could do that, perhaps the next time we need to update the JPA, we could make those revisions sort of all together, so we're not having a number of different versions.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Yes, please.
If we use January, we're in an election year now, and those candidates that are successful in November will not be certified till December, and then positioned until probably the first council meeting in January. So if we make appointments in January, those people may be removed at the discretion of their council on their second meeting in January. If we waited till February or even March, things will have settled and we'll know who's going to be on council in the different cities. Just a thought. I think January is a little too tight considering certifications and appointments at the city level. Just my opinion.
It could be, except for the fact that we meet the very last Thursday of the month. And so likely your city council has had both of their meetings in the beginning of the month, I would think in January. So you would have that settled. But what else?
Yeah, I think most of the councils have that settled by mid-January. The interesting thing is with an election coming up, depending on who is up for re-election, could determine what the board membership would look like for our December meeting. Could be touch and go.
I guess we can't really anticipate all of it.
Yeah, we can't.
It's just too much to do, but I really think that the end of January might satisfy that. I'm not, and if it doesn't, maybe we could revisit that, but I've just not seen it where it pushes it off to the end of February. But anybody else have any comments on that? And also just let's back up, and would we like to have the term limits as stated?
Just a quick comment. I think following up on what Councillor Thorson said, if we're going to be taking a look at the JPA for some other reasons, for efficiency, I think, we could do that all at one time. I am not opposed to leaving it the way it is. And I have to agree that most councils are going to have those assignments, even if they're brand new, newly elected by the end of January. It could be a tiny bit tight for a city, but I think we might be able to come in under that deadline.
Mm-hmm. And what are your feelings on establishing term limits?
I feel the 1 year with no limit at this time is probably good. I don't know. I know that you've been there 2 years now, Christy, and so I'm more interested how you feel about that and whether you think that's the way to go. You've had some really good consistency, and that really helps in the leadership role.
So maybe the vice chair suggested no more than 2 consecutive terms. Is that correct?
Oh, that's a good.
So there could be an annual break and then come back for another appointment, but there has to be a minimum of 1 year break after 2 years of consecutive service.
Oh.
Was that the suggestion?
Yes, 2 years of consecutive service.
Okay, great.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, okay.
I would agree with that. And do we then have to amend the JPA? Is that necessary?
Yeah.
And we don't need to amend it immediately. I mean, maybe there's some other amendments that have to happen throughout the year, and we just do that at some point. But, the concept, it sounds like there is a little bit of consensus of 2 consecutive years.
And I'll just vow right now that I won't try to pester you for the 3rd year, so we can give us some time to.
So, but this is not, this is not urgent that we do anything on this point. And maybe throughout the year, there's some other changes that we want to make, and we can add those all together and make it by the end of the year.
Very good. I like that idea.
That's good.
All right. I believe we wouldn't need a motion then on this, would we? It's just some direction for maybe a future item. We'd have to bring it back to council once we decide.
If the direction is just that we will discuss this at a later date, then no. But if the direction is to say that we do want to include a term limit and have that amended at some point, then we would vote on that.
All right. What's your preference, Vice Chair Drucker?
Yeah, let's go ahead and say that I'll make a motion that we some point between now and the end of 2022, amend the JPA amendment to limit the terms of the chair and vice chair to be 2 consecutive years.
We don't want a time certain on that, so we're not revisiting this January of 23.
No, I said between now and the end of the year. End of the calendar year, December 2022. As part of my motion.
Chair, General Counsel Thorson, can you explain what the process is for a JPA amendment and how much time that takes so that the board has an idea of the process and that could help inform the timing of when it comes back?
Sure. So in order to amend the JPA, we would have to, and this is in section 4.12 of the JPA document. So we would need a 2/3 vote of the entire board. And then to amend the agreement, we would need to, at least 30 days in advance, provide the parties, everybody, with what exactly is being amended. And then we would have to bring it back to a board meeting to be approved. And then at that point, in order to have an updated JPA, anytime we make a change to the agreement, we have to provide a copy of that updated agreement to the Secretary of State, to the Controller, to the county LAFCO, and then send out those notices. And we would have to do that in order to make sure we're in compliance, and we wouldn't be able to incur any debt until we did those updated notices. So that would be the time frame, and then the work or what we would have to do after the fact in order to make sure our documents are updated with all the proper county and state organizations.
Does the Secretary of State or LAFCO have approval authority, or is it simply informational?
I'm sorry.
LAFCO, yeah, I'm sorry. The Secretary of State and LAFCO, do they have approval authorities, or do they just simply receive notice?
No, they don't approve anything. They just receive them and then update their files.
Yeah. So given the hoops that we have to jump through to get this approved, that's why I'm suggesting we see if there's any other amendments that we want to make to the JPA, consolidate those. And I guess the time certain is probably September 2020, not December 2020.
2022?
I'm sorry, 2022. Yeah. The last 2 years have never happened.
It's still 2019 for some of us.
Yeah.
How does everybody feel after listening to our general counsel?
I would concur that September sounds about right.
Okay.
So would that be the date to initiate or to come back to the board for approval?
Initiate. That would be to initiate the approval.
So roughly a 90-day process then to get it done by the end of the year, more or less.
Did I have a second for Vice Chair Drucker's?
Yeah, Musgrove will second.
Very good. Call for the vote.
Member Musgrove,
Aye.
Member Bob Patel,
Aye.
Member Insco,
Aye.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Yes.
and Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. All right. Item number 7, discuss and provide direction related to in-person board meeting location.
Thank you, Chair Becker. And I do have a short presentation to provide the board with some background. One moment. Are the slides advancing?
No, I think you're not in the right presentation. Or
okay, let me just do it one more time here. All right, are we on the item 7?
yes.
Direction, okay. So this item is for the board to provide direction related to their preference with regards to in-person CEA regular board meeting locations once we are back meeting in person. Section 4.8 of our joint powers agreement establishes that the board, the date, hour, and place of our regular board meeting shall be fixed annually by resolution of the board, and that the location of the regular meetings may rotate subject to board approval and availability of appropriate meeting space. The board adopted resolution 2010-010, which set the time and place for our meetings for the period July 2021 through June 2022 for our regular meetings. We have been meeting remote. The current Brown Act emergency protective measures are set to expire at the end of March. Assuming they expire, our current schedule is set that the April 2022 meeting would take place in the city of Carlsbad, the May 2022 meeting in Del Mar, and the June 2022 meeting in Solana Beach. So the direction I'm seeking from the board, two questions. One is the board, would the board like to change the scheduled regular meetings through June 2022? Should that be the desire of the board, it would require that these regular meetings that have been scheduled, that those would be canceled. And we would then be looking at scheduling special meetings and noticing a special meeting for the new location. That only applies to the meetings for April, May, and June, should the board determine they did not want them to take place as currently scheduled. And then seeking direction from the board regarding preference for meeting schedule and location for our meetings July 2022 through June 2023. I'll take that, staff will take the direction or preference from the board, and we will confirm with the locations, the identified preferred locations, whether there is appropriate meeting space, technology meets our needs, and that it is available for our meeting time. And I will bring that report back to the board no later than March with the results of that work effort for the board then to approve their meeting schedule for the period of July 2022 through June 2023. Our goal would be that we minimize the impact to staff of any agency that's hosting our meeting. We have gotten ourselves pretty autonomous at managing our live stream. It was a work effort on the part of the staffs in the meetings locations when we were in person. And so we really want to work with them to minimize that. We appreciate those cities being willing to host our meetings in their chambers. That concludes my presentation, and I will stop sharing and turn it over to the chair for discussion.
All right, thank you. So maybe just for a little background, and I think I may have said this before, but for the new people, the reason we were small, there was 3 of us, 3 cities, and it just seemed fair to rotate. And I liked that idea, but I do think that I've heard from others that it can be quite confusing. And so that's why now, and we're getting more spread out, right? So we just want to be fair to each of the members. So I am definitely open to suggestions. Vice Chair Drucker.
I just had a question about the live streaming. When we go back to in-person meetings, the city where we're meeting, they would have to run the live streaming, I would assume.
That would certainly be one of the items we would find out, whether it be possible for us to utilize equipment that's there to live stream through our YouTube channel. I think the communities have gotten used to knowing where to go to be able to view our meetings. When we were rotating previously, it was being live streamed through the venue that city would live stream their meetings. And so every meeting had a different place for the community to go to watch our meetings. So it would, I think, be ideal if we could find a way to continue to live stream through the Clean Energy Alliance YouTube channel, so that there's no confusion about where those that are watching us from wherever they're watching would need to go to find that. We do put that information on the agenda, but it's kind of become over the last year and a half, we have a routine place. So those are the types of questions we would investigate, is how do we achieve that?
Yeah, that's a huge question. I know for Del Mar, we have our own live stream channel, et cetera. And, we're not, CEA is not going to have its own equipment set up to record and or stream. So I would also agree with Christy that, initially we thought, we could rotate amongst the 3 members. Now that we're bigger, it may make sense for us to have a one spot which would accommodate what you're looking for, Barbara, rather than having to go to all sorts of spots and having to figure out how to do this live streaming different than what we're doing now.
Right, and more centrally located, I guess, between the cities somehow. But would the costs for that be a lot more if are you talking about sort of leasing some space, or?
Is that a question for?
I don't know who. Vice Chair Drucker, was that your?
No, the question I have, it's just, I think Barbara needs to figure out whether or not, if we're going to go to one spot, that spot has the ability to use our YouTube channel to live stream. I don't believe the city of Del Mar can handle that. I don't know if there may be that ability, but it's going to take some changes the way the current setup is at the city of Del Mar in terms of live streaming.
Yeah. So if it's the pleasure of the board or direction of the board for me to reach out to, if the board would like me to reach out to all 5 cities to see what's capable, and I'll utilize the expertise of our technical support team at Pepe Smith, who has helped set this up. We can see what's possible. If the board is interested in continuing a rotation, if the board would like to maybe focus on a location or 2, we can do that effort as well. So I think, I'm not sure we can solve the problem of what's capable. It's more what's the board's thoughts on preferences, and then let us carry that back and see what's possible at the preferred locations. In terms of renting a space, I think that might be not as cost effective and might be a bit more challenging to set up a space geared towards public meetings. I think using council chambers would be maybe a first choice, because they are set up to handle a public meeting that is consistent with the Brown Act and would allow for the required postings. And so I would recommend that maybe be our first choice, is to look at one of our member cities, get their feedback and research using their council chambers.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Solana Beach is not going to be equipped. What are our newest members? What are their thoughts? For you're further away, and so how are you feeling?
Well, I'll go ahead and chime in first, and then hopefully Ed will have some thoughts about San Marcos as well. Escondido is, of course, as far away as the coast. And so I do appreciate that. It would be wonderful to have a meeting in Escondido and, give some more oomph to our program, if you will. But I also understand that it's the furthest out. That being said, the most important thing, as Member Drucker said, we don't want to confuse people. The online presence has to be consistent, because that's where people are used to going to see this. And I don't know if Escondido technically can handle that, although we are set up very, very well for our council meetings, but I'm just not sure about the YouTube possibility. So I'm open to someplace central that could handle it. And I don't know if Vista coming in might be an option, but San Marcos is also a little bit closer to some of the other cities. So what do you think, Ed?
Yeah, it is interesting. We want to, I think we want to make it as centralized as possible, but, and Vista is kind of smack dab in the middle of all of us, but they're not yet members potentially, but not yet. And there are other options where we select, just as an example, Dave, you might have a better thought on this, but North County Transit, if they have a conference room or something that would accommodate, or they're, as an example, something that's not necessarily looking for neutral, but location. I know they broadcast on YouTube. That's how some of the meetings go out. We do our council meetings on GoToMeeting, or you can log in and watch it live, but they're not on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you're right. NCTD has recently set up to be on YouTube. They do not have, it's one camera. It's not set up to be like all of our council meetings were in the past, where you'd have multiple cameras and you can zoom in and et cetera. It's pretty primitive, I would say, with NCTD. I would just say in terms of centrality, actually Carlsbad is probably the central spot. Vista for me, for Del Mar and Solana Beach, is a long way away also. Actually, it's easier for Solana Beach and Del Mar to get to Escondido. Is the easiest, in terms of farthest away, but easiest to get to because we can use Del Dios.
Yeah, originally, oh, yes, please.
Yeah, I can definitely chime in. We do have streaming services that we use for our council meetings, so that is a possibility. I think with regards to a location, I just didn't want to chime in because I don't know what other folks feel, if they want to drive to just one location, if they want to rotate. My initial inclination, like in my head, was, okay, if it were me, what would I want to do? And of course, like, I think everyone's feeling similarly. It would be nice to be able to be in your home turf for like a couple months or a month, right? And then have the ability to rotate to other agencies as well. So I know that's what was happening previously, but I think in terms of resources, Ms. Boswell, I would want to make sure that Carlsbad's equipped to do what you all would want. If it was decided, hey, we're just going to pick one location, I don't want to volunteer us until we know that that's possible. And then also I think the other piece would be just making sure that costs obviously would be handled through the JPA versus the member agency that's hosting. So I just want to make sure of that, so that I'm not putting us into a space where we're paying for something extra. So.
Well, I really do like the idea of Carlsbad as well. And I had sort of thought about what if we rotated with where the chair is. And I thought Ms. Bob Patel was, the vice was going to be the chair. So I thought, okay, we'll start in Carlsbad and then we move it with the chair, but maybe even that's too complicated. So I do like the idea of Carlsbad. So maybe is that good direction to start there and see if they're capable, and then we finish out this year. You said that we do this once a year. Is it the calendar year or the fiscal year?
Our meetings are set on a fiscal year basis.
Oh, okay. All right.
If we're going to start rotating though in March, again, we're going to need to figure out whether Del Mar, Carlsbad, or Solana Beach has the ability to use YouTube. And I think that's, so we're going to have to figure that, you're going to have to figure that out by February, and then we'll decide.
We don't have to rotate those 3 meetings.
Right.
Right? You said we could cancel those and reschedule. So even then, assuming Carlsbad was ready to go, we could go in March to Carlsbad. Would that be? Is that correct?
One moment, I'm pulling up my staff report. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is at the city of Carlsbad in April in person. And then assuming that the board would like to continue to stay there, we would cancel the regular meetings that are currently scheduled to be hosted in Del Mar and Solana Beach and schedule special meetings located in Carlsbad or the location that is selected.
Okay.
I'm looking, virtually looking at our general counsel to make sure that's correct.
That was correct. And the only thing that I would add is, if we cancel those regular meetings, there are sometimes actions that have to be taken at a regular meeting and can't be taken at a special meeting. And so I just would want to be having that as a consideration as well, that I don't know that we would want to go 2 or 3 months without having a regular meeting if we do have some item that must be approved at a regular meeting come up that we might not even be, aware of at this moment.
Chair Becker, maybe what I can do is check with the city of Carlsbad, but also potentially check with Del Mar and Solana Beach and our technical team to see if there's some workaround with regards to our streaming. There may be some workaround that we could put in place for those 2 meetings that would get us through until we're at our final location.
Okay. All right. So is that good enough direction? You've got what you can do in the next month or so?
If that's the direction of the board, yes, that works for me.
Everybody okay with that? Just a nod of the head. Okay, perfect. All right. We're very flexible here. All right, let's move on to item number 8. This is going to declare openings and direct application process for Clean Energy Alliance Community Advisory Committee for the cities of Escondido and San Marcos. It's very exciting.
Yes, our Community Advisory Committee is going to be growing. And I am going to pull up my presentation here. And hope that okay, did the slide move to the recommendation slide?
No.
I have tried uninstalling and reinstalling Zoom and everything. Okay. So the item before the board for consideration is for the board to declare openings and direct the application process for the Clean Energy Alliance Community Advisory Committee for members who would represent the cities, our new cities of Escondido and San Marcos. Some background, the Clean Energy Alliance Community Advisory Committee policy, which has been adopted by the board, establishes that each member agency has 2 appointees from their cities. The appointees serve 3-year staggered terms. However, in the inaugural year, one of the appointees serves 2 years. And so that establishes the staggering for those. So this, when the cities of Escondido and San Marcos bring forward their nominations, they would identify which will be the 2-year term and which would be the 3-year term. We also have one of our board alternates who serves as the chair of the Community Advisory Committee, and that has been, for the past year, was our alternate board member, Dwight Warden. The requirements to serve on the Community Advisory Committee is that the appointees be residents, they can be property owners or renters, or business owners within the city that they are representing and within the service territory. They're subject to conflict of interest requirements and would need to file the Form 700. The policy does state that we look for appointees that have a relevant background or expertise related to either electricity, community outreach, or policy advocacy. They're expected to maintain a good attendance record which has been defined as if they've missed 2 consecutive meetings unexcused or have unexcused absences for more than 25% of the calendar year, then those appointees would be removed. Our meetings are held in public and we follow all of the rules pursuant to the Brown Act regarding noticing. Although our meetings are currently being held remote, we would return to in person at a location to be determined. With regards to the application process, we would open the application process by Monday, and we would keep it open through February the 25th. So it would be 4 full weeks. We would advertise through media and social media outlets. We would be looking and working with our those 2 cities to see if it's possible to also utilize their social media to advertise and post the opportunities to serve. We would the application and policy would be available on CEA's website for accessing by interested parties. Once the application closes, the application period closes, each of the board members from Escondido and San Marcos would receive the applications related to those interested in serving for your community. And you would go through those applications and go through your appropriate vetting process, and then bring forward at the March 31st board meeting your nomination to the full board for their consideration and approval. And that does conclude my presentation, and happy to answer questions, Chair Becker.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions, comments?
No questions right at the moment. However, I just want to reiterate, as Barbara knows, in our discussions with Deputy City Manager Chris McKinney, that we are very excited for this process to begin, and that our communications team, primarily Teresa Collins, who's our Deputy Director of Communications, will be working very closely to make this happen. And of course, that includes a very robust social media presence that we have on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and every other thing we can possibly get out there, as well as newsletters. So we're ready to go and very excited. Thank you for the presentation. And the alternate, Mike Marasco, Councilmember Marasco, and myself really look forward to receiving the applications.
Very good. Vice Chair Drucker.
Yeah, are the meetings going to be televised once they go back to in person, or are they just, you have to show up?
I'd like to work on being able to continue to televise them, because I think similar to the CEA board meetings, the community has gotten used to them. We also keep the recordings. They're maintained on our website for the community to access and view when it's convenient for them. So we want to continue that. So I would envision wherever we land for the board meetings, we will inquire as to whether we can also then have our community advisory committee meetings at the same location. And then there's consistency for the public of where our public meetings are held.
Great, thank you.
Very good. I just had one question, and maybe you answered, I didn't see it. When do we pick a new board chair? Or
that is the policy is silent on with regards to the term. So I think that may be, I'm going to virtually look at our general counsel to make sure I'm not venturing into an area I shouldn't be. But that would be something I think the board may want to consider revising in the policy, and maybe we can do that. The board can direct that we give some direction to bring back, because it is silent in the policy.
all right, so you're saying we need to put that on a future agenda item?
If that's the desire of the board, to have that level of, have that in there, yes.
Okay, I think that might be something to do. Again, we probably need to do it sometimes when the councils change and that type of thing. I don't know if anybody else, I don't even know if I can talk about it right now, but I don't know if anyone else is interested in saying that the alternate from, like, let's say the chair and the vice chair maybe don't chair the CAC and maybe we do a different city, or is that getting down to too much detail? Does anybody care about that? And term limits for that?
You mean another board member, or?
It's the, well, in other words, I would say, like, does Carlsbad want to have their alternate step up for the CAC as opposed to having the same city? And maybe it doesn't matter at all. You know what I'm saying?
For today's discussion, we have to stick with just declaring opening and directing that, but we could add an item, I know as we've done before, and request at the next meeting that maybe there's a more general topic of updates to the committee. We could discuss the policy and these sorts of questions as well.
Very good. All right, great. Well, let's keep it to this good news of declaring the openings. Do you need a motion for that? Do we need a motion, or is it just direction? We do.
There would be a motion to open it up.
I would move that we open up the application process for the Community Advisory Board for Escondido and San Marcos residents.
And I'll second.
Right, call for the vote.
Member Insco,
Yes.
Member Musgrove,
Aye.
Member Bot Patel,
Aye.
Vice Chair Druker,
Yes.
Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, now let's go ahead to item number 9, and we're going to discuss the Community Advisory Committee 2022 work plan and meeting schedule.
Thank you, Chair Beckard. Staying with the topic of the Community Advisory Committee, let me go back to my presentation mode here. And has it advanced?
Yes.
Okay, great. So before the board for consideration is approval of the calendar year 2022 Community Advisory Committee schedule and work plan. Our Community Advisory Committee policy does state that the board will set the Community Advisory Committee's meeting schedule, as well as establishing their work plan on an annual basis. For 2021, the Community Advisory Committee met quarterly and met on topics including developing a community outreach plan supporting CEA's implementation. They reviewed and commented on the CEA 21-22 budget and goals. We had a session reviewing each of the member agencies' climate action plans and goals. And then from that, we took that to the next step and received an overview of programs offered by various CCAs throughout the state, and then identified those programs that would be in alignment with the climate action plan goals of our member agencies to identify where areas should we be focusing on. The Community Advisory Committee did provide some input that they've requested the board consider in setting their 2022 schedule and work plan. They did feel that quarterly was not quite often enough, that monthly would be too frequent, but that every other month would put them on a good cadence for achieving goals. They're a very enthused group. They work hard, they want to provide value to the board, and they felt that meeting more frequently would help them to achieve that. In terms of work plan, they did look at the climate action plan goals and thought about how they could provide value for the coming year. And what came out of that is their thoughts for the board consideration is that they can utilize their experience related to the implementation, the CEA implementation in Carlsbad and Del Mar and Solana Beach to help inform and put together a marketing and outreach strategy program for the cities of Escondido and San Marcos, and look forward to those new members joining them in developing that strategy. The They're interested again in reviewing and providing input into CEA's fiscal year 22-23 budget and goals. They talked about looking at CEA's website and expanding it to include a section that would provide information to the community about things that they can do to help achieve climate action plan goals. That would include things that would end result as reducing greenhouse gas emissions. They're also interested in supporting programs that expand EV charging infrastructure. Transportation has been identified as a top greenhouse gas contributor, and expanding EV charging infrastructure will help to the expansion of EV vehicles, electric vehicles. They're interested in assisting in development a community solar program, and would be helpful in development of our feed-in tariff that we may consider in the future. There was discussion about investigating the possibility of developing a relationship with the University of San Diego's Center for Energy Research to identify potential partnership opportunities to help CEA with achieving its goals of reducing greenhouse gas emission, and there's general public education outreach regarding reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. So based on that, taking that input, staff has put together the proposed meeting schedule and work plan for the board consideration. This would put them on an every other month schedule. So rather than meeting 4 times during the year, they would meet 6. They would meet the first Thursday of each month, which would then allow the cadence for the report back at the next meeting of the CEA board of their activities. The work plan includes reviewing CEA's website and assisting with developing the web pages that they have ideas for providing more education outreach to the community. Receiving a report and providing input from the board's budget workshop that we will be having coming up, and then reviewing the draft budget at the beginning of June before it comes for adoption to the board at the end of June. In August, we would be working on the marketing and outreach strategy for Escondido and San Marcos in support of the Escondido and San Marcos launch. Then we would be tackling in October education outreach and training plan for greenhouse gas emission reduction strategies. And then in December, we would be again, the Community Advisory Committee again would be wrapping up their achievements and then thinking about the future year and bringing forward a recommendation to the board for their consideration. And concludes my presentation. And Chair Becker, I'm happy to answer questions from the board. And I do want to say we've been remiss in not asking for questions from the public. So I want to make sure that we're doing that. So I want to bring that to the attention of the chair.
Yes, and I guess will someone notify us if there is any?
Yes, I've been monitoring.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry that it's this way that we can't see them in person, and so.
We do have a CAC member that's requesting to speak on this item.
Very good. All right. Should we take that public comment right now?
Yes.
First of all, I will say we have an incredible CAC. They are enthusiastic and insightful, and I'm very, very grateful to have them. So, all right. Do we have?
Okay, Ms. Tessino, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for all your hard work, everyone. I'm really excited to have the team grow in size. I just wanted to add one other thing I didn't really see on the list of work plan items that we had discussed. at our December meeting, and that was to somehow have incentives for building electrification and energy efficiency be included in our work plan, and have some input on that. So I just want to make sure that was included.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your service.
My pleasure.
You've been a great asset for us.
Yeah.
Madam
Sure.
CEO, yes, please.
Chair Becker, yeah, thank you. And I appreciate the comments from our committee member, Ms. Tessino. She's been very active and was very instrumental in helping us to keep good communication amongst the community while we were going through implementation. I had, that is one of the, she's correct, that is something that came up in our meeting. And I had, while I didn't go into great detail, that was an item that I had intended would be part of the budget workshop discussion to bring back to the board, that the Community Advisory Committee could review and prioritize programs such as that to bring forward for board consideration. But we can certainly more specifically add that to the work plan if the board so desires, to ensure that it isn't missed.
Right, excellent.
The chair of the board is in attendance, and so I would defer to Dwight Warden to see if he has any comments on this also.
Perfect.
Thanks, Dave. I thought the staff report was pretty thorough. I agree with your chair. This is a great group of enthusiastic, committed people. The only additional suggestion I'd make is if Barbara plans to do an orientation when we get new representatives from San Marcos and Escondido as the chair, and having been involved with CEA since its foundation, I'd be happy to help with that process to give sort of a one-on-one orientation to new members so they're up to speed when we have our first regular meeting. That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Dwight. You have been amazing, and we are grateful for your leadership. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Very much appreciated. Thank you, Dwight.
Thanks for the kind words.
Keep it up, keep it up. All right, so then we need a motion then, if there's no more comments on this item. Is everyone satisfied with the work plan? I think it looks amazing and thorough.
Just Chair Becker, I do see somebody else's hand raised.
Oh, thank you. It is Hillary Hebert.
Okay.
Miss Hebert, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And thanks for your service. My name is Hillary Hebert. I'm a policy consultant for Clean Tech San Diego. Clean Tech San Diego is a member organization of businesses in the region who are focused on energy issues, and we have a working group that is specifically focused on clean community choice energy. Talked with Barbara Boswell a bit, and she's actually been kind enough to attend some of our working group meetings and provide information and dialogue. That is much appreciated. So I wanted to chime in at this point just to offer to the board, if there is an interest in hearing from some of our members about some of the projects that they have around the region, or starting some dialogue about sort of community choice energy projects that are behind the meter, utility scale, a wide variety of membership in Clean Tech San Diego's organization. And they're all just excited to get to know you all better and help educate you on what they have to offer for the region. So I'm happy to engage with any of you as if there's interest, or with the Community Advisory Committee. It sounds like a pretty active group there too. So just wanted to say thanks for your service and offer the support of this Clean Tech San Diego working group. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that comment and being here. All right, so we need a motion then to approve the Community Advisory Committee 2022 work plan and meeting schedule.
I'll move to approve.
And I'll second.
Very good. Call for the vote.
Member Musgrove,
Aye.
Member Insco,
Aye.
Member Patel,
Aye.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Aye.
and Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. All right. Item number 10, receive an update and provide direction regarding Clean Energy Alliance Green Impact Champions Program.
Unmute. Thank you, Chair Becker. This item is on the agenda for consideration at the request of the board. The board did ask that we consider looking at some type of a marketing program to encourage enrollments in our Green Impact 100% renewable power supply product. The recommendation to the board is for them to the board to consider approving our Green Impact marketing program name, which we have our team, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that we had the great work of Trepepi Smith help with evaluating and coming up with brand, but also logos and brainstorming ideas for programs that we might bring forward for recommendation. And they are here in case we have questions for them. But the name that we landed on was Green Impact Champions. We came to that idea because you know, a customer does have to make a conscious, take a conscious positive action to enroll, and they have to either contact our call center or go online to make that decision. There is a small cost, which we'll get into further in the presentation, but we look at them as our champions. They're carrying the torch for us in terms of leading the way and achieving 100% renewable and reducing our carbon footprint and greenhouse gas emissions. We'd like the board to select the Green Impact Champions logo, and then approval of the business and residential Green Impact Champions program. Some background, as the board knows, we currently have 3 power supply products. Our Clean Impact is our minimum 50% renewable energy. That is to increase incrementally each year to achieve 100% by 2035. So we're not staying stagnant at 50%. It is moving up each year. We have the next step up, which is Clean Impact Plus, which is our 75% carbon free. And it has been selected by the cities of Carlsbad, Del Mar, and Solana Beach as the default. So when customers begin service with Clean Energy Alliance, they are automatically enrolled in the 75% carbon free, and they can make a choice to either go down or go up from there. There is a small premium on the Clean Impact Plus. The average is about 35 cents based on average residential usage. And that is a separate line item on the bill. And then we have our 100% renewable energy product, which is our Green Impact. The average monthly cost for that is about $2.65 based on average residential usage. And it is based on per kilowatt hour. So that would go up and down depending on how the customer uses their energy. The cities of Escondido and San Marcos have yet to select their defaults, and we will be looking to them for consideration and selection of their default in September as part of planning for their launch in April 2023. Customers can make individual selections. They can opt up from the 75% carbon free to Green Impact. They can opt down. They can opt out of the Clean Impact Plus and down to Clean Impact, or they can opt out and return to SDG&E. We have our power supply products are all cleaner than SDG&E, and they are looking to close. They have requested permission to close their eco-choice, so they will not be offering a 100% renewable energy product. So we feel our product, power supply products are cleaner and better choices for our community, and actually provide choices to the community. Current statistics, this is as of December. We have about 365 accounts who have been opted up to our Green Impact. Those include the accounts of the cities of Del Mar and Solana Beach, who those city councils did direct that their municipal accounts be enrolled in the 100% renewable energy power supply. We have an additional 266 residential and 20 non-residential accounts. In addition, the Encino Wastewater Authority in their public meetings and Leucadia County Water District have also authorized opting up their accounts to 100% renewable green impact. We've had 115 accounts choose to opt down. 110 of those are residential and 5 non-residential. We did look at and reach out to other CCA programs who have done these types of campaigns, marketing campaigns, and trying to encourage customers to voluntarily enroll in their 100% renewable energy power supply. And by coincidence, we belong to the professional organization, California Community Choice Association, CCA, as it's known. There was someone from another CCA who put out a survey asking for information on just this exact topic. There wasn't a lot of response, so there wasn't a lot of response, but the responses that came back indicated, fairly limited effectiveness, based on the time, cost, effort involved in a real robust marketing campaign. Marin Clean Energy, who is the first CCA in the state to form, they formed in 2010. They did actually provide a really good summary of all of the different marketing and community campaigns that they've undertaken over the past several years. They're fairly large. They serve 540,000 service accounts. The number of accounts that have opted up to 100% renewable are about 12,000, so about 2% of their customers. They have held 5 separate campaigns between 2015 and 2020. The costs ranged between $1,000 and $10,000 and ranged from either very limited staff time to very extensive staff time. In looking at how effective were they, those have ranged between achieving 50 new enrollees or 1,000 new enrollees. So again, they weren't seeing double-digit percentage of their customer base enrolling commensurate with the activities that they've undertaken in these campaigns. Based on that, and based on where we are with our budget, we are recommending what we feel is a program that would have little cost and little impact to staff time, and is really geared towards getting the word out. We really were focused over the past, I'd say 6 months to a year on launch and encouraging folks to stay with Clean Energy Alliance. So now we weren't necessarily spending a lot of time and effort advertising and promoting green impact. So this really would be focused on getting the word out about that we have a 100% renewable energy power supply offering, and then recognizing those customers who are champions, our green impact champions, recognizing those participants for their voluntary enrollment. Again, our brand that we are proposing is Green Impact Champions. Trippepi Smith has assisted with creating 2 different logo options. And they are, the left is option A and the right is option B. And they both are unique and different, very different from each other, but we're looking to the board for your to choose between the 2. And I'll reserve comment on which one I prefer. With regards to how the program would work, we would be focused on a media campaign, really utilizing our social media to advertise and encourage folks to voluntarily opt up. We would be really focusing on the benefits of the program, the cost, and then enrollment options. I will say that a customer does not have to enroll for any specific period of time. So customers can choose freely between our options. There's no minimum stay when they make a selection. Sometimes that discourages people from selecting something if they think they're locked in for a period of time, and there is no minimum time they have to stay in any of our power supply products. And then another component would be highlighting a green impact champion customer, having a spotlight or maybe a green light on a green impact customer, and getting some type of testimonial from them on why they made that selection, why they would encourage others to do the same, and provide that as part of our marketing campaign. We also would be looking at sending letters to Clean Energy Alliance customers who had previously been enrolled in SDG&E's 100% renewable power supply, but may not be enrolled in our green impact. And reaching out to them, those customers may not realize that we have that option, and they may like to enroll in our 100% renewable. So that's something very easy that we can send directly to those customers. We've further broken down the recognition into a business recognition and a residential customer recognition. For the business recognition, we would use the logos to develop a window cling that the businesses could use to advertise the fact that they are enrolled in 100% renewable. Being a clean business is very important to many businesses, and they might like to be able to advertise that to their customers. We would create a Clean Energy Alliance website that provides links to each of our businesses enrolled in Green Impact, of course, based on that business authorizing and indicating they're interested in being listed on the website. But it could be an opportunity, again, for those businesses to be recognized and supported by the community for their support of the 100% renewable energy. We would also be looking into the feasibility of offering the ability of businesses to use our Green Impact logo on their business website and marketing materials. That would take, I think, a little more vetting to ensure that from a legal perspective, we're protecting our brand and our logo while allowing them to continue to advertise the fact that they are 100% renewable. And the business may see that as an added benefit for being enrolled in our 100% renewable product. From a residential customer recognition, the proposal would be that we hold a monthly drawing of those customers enrolled in Green Impact. Those that are selected once per month would be eligible to receive a credit of their monthly premium for 1 year. Keeping in mind that the average cost to a residential customer is right around $3 a month. We could select 12 different customers for a year, and it'd be less than $500 or so a month. So customers may appreciate the fact that they have a chance to have that for free for a year, and it would be little cost to Clean Energy Alliance. The overall estimated cost of this program is $3,000. We do have those funds currently available in our current budget, in our marketing budget. We'd be working with our Trepepi Smith team to develop the website and the window clings. And then we currently already do weekly social media communications, and we would enhance that by including then regular information about our Green Impact power supply. For those customers who happen to be watching or are interested in enrolling, we have 2 options. They can go to our website and select your options, and you'll be brought to a screen where you can click the Green Impact and enroll right there, or you can call our call center. And the number here is here, and also the number is on our website as well, 833-232-3110. Chair Becker, that concludes my presentation, and happy to answer questions from the board.
Thank you. And, I really appreciate you taking such a deep dive into that. I mean, that was really comprehensive and really good creative ideas. And I love the fact that this community of CCAs has so much sharing, and, we're just not reinventing the wheel every time. So, and I'm glad that you're part of those groups, and that really, I think, is an asset for us. So thank you so much for that. Does anyone have any questions before we start diving a little deeper into each of those different aspects? So you wanted some direction on, first of all, the name. Should we go through those, or how would we like to do that? I'm very happy with Green Impact Champions.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine with me.
Yeah, same here.
Yes.
Right. Should we first talk about whether or not we'd like to move forward on this before we start picking specifics? I think the cost of $3,000 is well worth what we could get out of this program. So I, for one, did that $3,000 include the less than $500 residential customer recognition? Yes. Okay.
It does, yeah.
So I definitely think this is well worth moving forward. Does everybody else? So we can go down.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, I think what we're seeing is the cost consciousness of people in terms of moving up to the 100% green impact. And especially now, given inflationary times, I think it'd be very difficult to get people to move. And in the future, though, if the prices come down and are more in line with what we're doing with the 75%, then that would be the time where we'd probably want to put together a pretty heavy duty marketing plan that this suggests people go to 100% because it doesn't cost them that much more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this initial step where, again, it's sort of inexpensive, but it's just recognizing the businesses and recognizing the residents, I think is a really good start. So I, for one, I'm ready to pick a logo. Is anybody else? Okay.
Want me to bring them back up, Chair
Yes,
Becker?
that would be great. All right, should we just start? Anybody chime in which logo they pick? We could take a vote quickly.
I liked option A.
Yeah, me too. Option A.
Option A.
Option A.
Oh,
No.
okay. I guess there's no need to even move on then. We've got option A, but Barb, very quickly, what was your choice?
Option A.
Okay, easy, done. All right, we are a cooperative group, okay? And then I guess onto the, and everybody was okay with the Green Impact Champions name, so very good there. We have the media campaign of the business recognition, the logos and the other, everybody sounded okay with that. Any suggestions, any modifications to that? And is everybody on board with the residential customer recognition? Once a month, a drawing for that? Does that sounds good? Okay. All right. And what other direction was it that you needed from us?
I have a question for Barb. Sorry,
yep.
Go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
Barbara, with those numbers of customers that opted down, were they surveyed to ask why?
I am not sure, but let me reach out to our call center to see if there's any statistics on that. And if the board is interested, we can certainly add that to inquire. We do ask when somebody is opting out. So I think it would be good to add that as well.
Okay, thank you.
I sort of have the feeling that it's sort of a personal choice if someone feels that they want to opt down and they, can't really afford it or something like that. So I'm not sure that would be a good inquiry, but I'm open to what the rest of the board feels.
Well, I think if we give them the option, I mean, it's not a mandatory answer. It's like an exit interview. Fill it out if you like, but just curious, because I think you're right, Chair. It would be mostly a personal decision. If they're at the mid-range and 35 cents is the deal breaker, I don't know that really would come into play, but
education on that number.
I think so too.
It's because people don't know that, but yeah, I'm just glad they're not opting out. So good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very
I
good.
think it could be an educational tool for us, though, if they're leaving for a reason that we could reasonably say, well, we probably didn't put out the correct information or enough of it, and that's why we did it. Either get them back or change our focus. Just want to make sure we're not missing something.
Okay.
Well, we
I
can
think
take
that's a
look.
good point.
Yeah, we can take a look at our the staff that we have at our data manager and call center folks have a lot of experience in the CCA world, and I think they would have some good input as to how we could approach seeking information that would give us good data on that. I will say we do use it to discourage opt-outs, giving customers an option that might be a little cheaper, and sometimes that results in someone not opting out but opting down. But we certainly, I'll talk to them and see how we could craft it to gather information that then is useful for us to adjust how we do business.
Okay, very good. Again, thank you for all that hard work and putting that together. Do you need anything else for us on that item?
General counsel, should they take a vote approving the program?
I would recommend that they do, just so that it's clear that all of the recommendations here are being adopted by everybody.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All right, call for the vote.
Member Insco,
Aye.
Member Bob Patel,
Aye.
Member Musgrove,
Aye.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Yes.
and Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, very good. We made it through all those items. Whew. All right, who has any board member requests for future agenda items?
Yeah, I think we would like to put on the agenda a discussion of a more formal review and salary/contract review for the executive director, for the CEO.
Yes. I would like to see that as well. Okay, anything else? I think that's it. All right, thank you all for attending. Our next meeting will be virtual on February 24th, 2022 at 2 p.m.
Fantastic.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much.